Hi, and welcome to InsideSkills.com. My name is Alabi Omolade, and I'll be taking you through basic technology. This is our second part of the presentation, which is First Aid Part 2. If you remember clearly in our first section, we discussed the meaning of first aid, who a first aider is, and items that can be found in a first aid box. In this section, we are going to discuss common emergency situations and how to apply first aid in these situations. The summary of our first presentation talks about the first aid, which is the first treatment given to an injured person before the arrival of a medical practitioner. Then we said the first aider administers first aid. A surgical tape is also known as a medical tape. Safety is very important, and every company, workshop, and industry must have a first aid kit. Now let's talk about this common emergency situation. We're going to start with ankle sprain. Now, how do we apply first aid when our friends or our neighbors happen to have ankle sprain? First thing to do is to rest the limb that has been hurt, then ice the injured region as soon as possible. What that means is you apply ice on the injured area and make sure it is as soon as possible. You do this for 15 to 20 minutes or 4 to 8 times a day. Then also you use the bandage to compress this area that has been affected. Then for bleeding, which we know can happen in the kitchen while you are playing with the razor or anything. Now what do you do when you are bleeding? First thing to do is to make sure you inform your parents. You don't administer first aid on yourself if you are not with your parents. So you must inform your parents before you administer first aid. So what do we do this time? We apply pressure to the cut wound with a sterile or a gauze, and then you use a clean cloth after rinsing it with water to clean it up. If blood soaks through the bandage, apply pressure with a second bandage on top of the first. That means when you apply the first bandage and you can still notice that the blood is still much on that bandage, you can apply pressure with a second bandage to stop the bleeding. Slow the bleeding by raising the wounded area. Then cover the wound with a clean bandage once the bleeding has stopped. Shock. Now, when a shock happens either through electric appliances, whatever, first thing to do is to maintain the person's stiffness and only move him or her if absolutely required. If the person shows no indication of life, such as not breathing, coughing, or moving, start CPR immediately. To prevent cold, losing tight clothing and, if necessary, cover the person with a blanket and allow the person to eat or drink nothing. For burn, first thing you need to do is to put out the fire, and then for about 10 minutes, soak the area in water. What I mean by water is a flowing water. You can just quickly take the hand to a running tap and then just let the water gush on that part for like 10 or 15 minutes. Then remove any ring or any other objects that are too tight from the burnt area. Before the area swells, try not to be swift. Try to do this swiftly and gently. Blisters should not be broken. Blisters aid in the prevention of infection. If a blister breaks, rinse it gently with water and apply antibiotic ointment. Apply lotion to the affected area and apply a lotion that contains aloe vera or cocoa butter after the burn has cooled. This aids in the prevention of dryness as well as providing relief. The burn should be bandaged using a clean bandage to cover the burn. To avoid placing pressure on the burnt skin, wrap it loosely. Bandaging the wound keeps air out and relieves comfort and preserves blistering skin. We have come to the end of our section, which wraps it all up for first aid. Kindly follow us on all of our social media platforms and check out the assessments that we have on our website. See you in the next topic. Thank you.